Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a number of different World of Warcraft releases. I did mainly want to talk about Season of Mastery in this video, but then I found it impossible to talk about the Season of Mastery release dates without talking about TBC Classic Phase 3 and obviously Retail World of Warcraft as well, because obviously the release of one affects the other release. Now first of all, let's talk about the Season of Mastery. I thoroughly believe that Season of Mastery servers will release roughly 6 months precisely after the TBC Classic launch, which roughly puts it at either November the 30th or December the 7th. And I think Blizzard will intentionally do this so it syncs up with the normal release schedule of normal Classic TBC. So TBC Classic will be done, at the final patch at the same time that the Season of Mastery will be done. Another thing to bear in mind is if we look at the TBC Classic beta raid testing, that happened precisely 7 resets before the launch of the game. The raid testing for Season of Mastery just started last night, which means 7 resets after that would place it at the 30th of November, so it does make sense that it's either going to release, in my opinion, November the 30th or December the 7th. And this does line up really nicely with the TBC Classic Phase 3 launch, which I think will release, obviously, 15 resets after Phase 2 release, because that was the difference in time between the launch of the game and Phase 2, and that would place it on December the 29th, or it could be January the 5th, which would be 1 week later. And I think that would make financial sense because obviously quarter 4 ends basically with the end of December, and then quarter 1 starts in January. I don't think they'll release Phase 3 of TBC Classic right at the end of quarter 4. I think they're more likely to release it in quarter 1. Then also, what about retail? Like, how does the release of 9.2 affect the release of Season of Mastery and Phase 3? Well, many people do actually think that 9.2 is actually the final patch of Shadowlands, and Blizzard want to move more onto developing a new expansion as soon as they can. This definitely feels true to me because it feels like they've rushed to the end boss with Shadowlands, because Sylvanas was obviously the end boss of 9.1. I think 9.2 is very likely to release early January to late January, basically just in January, because that'll be 1 year and 1 month, well 2 months after the actual launch of Shadowlands. And again, I think it makes more sense for them to release 9.2 in quarter 1 of 2022 rather than releasing it quarter 4, which would be in a few months, because I think if it was going to release this year, there would have already been an announcement and a bit of a leak or something like that. You may be thinking, well, wouldn't the 9.2 release be too close to Phase 3 of TBC Classic and to Season of Mastery? Well, they did this with the launch of TBC Classic. They released 9.1 only 1 month after they launched TBC Classic, so they'll probably do that again. So let me summarise the dates where I think there will be major releases. So 30th November till the December the 7th, I think that's most likely when Season of Mastery will launch. Then we have December the 29th, or more likely January the 5th, which could either be Phase 3 of TBC Classic or Shadowlands, but it's more likely, in my opinion, to be Phase 3 of TBC Classic. And then we'll get 9.2 in late January, which could be January the 25th or February the 1st. And if we take this a little further, we can obviously talk about Classic Wrath. I think what's going to happen is obviously the Season of Mastery server is going to sync up with TBC Classic so that they'll be basically done with all the content has been released around about the same time. And I think that will be early 2023. So we're talking, January, February to March in 2023. That's probably when we will get a release of, Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And then from there, it'll be interesting to see what Blizzard does with the Season of Mastery concept. Will they also release, new Classic Season of Mastery servers, a TBC Classic Season of Mastery server, and a Classic Wrath Mastery server all at the same time in early 2023? Or do they just release a TBC one? Do they just release another Classic one? Or all 3 of them are going to be released at the same time? Maybe we won't even get a normal Classic Wrath server. They'll decide that Season of Mastery is a much better way to do things, and TBC Classic will progress into a Season of Mastery styled Wrath of the Lich King server, which would be, in my opinion, the preferred, you know, adjustment. Another thing that they could do is just simply have normal Classic WoW and then your Season of Mastery realm, and not bother to release new Classic Season of Mastery realms after the original Season of Mastery realm is done. So you have Classic WoW just progressing as normal, you know, one expansion every 18 months, then you also have one other Season of Mastery servers, you know, progressing at the same time. So the current, well, the Classic WoW Season of Mastery servers that are going to release will progress into TBC and then progress into Wrath of the Lich King, while Classic, you know, Classic WoW will progress further, you know, into Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm at a different pace. Because by the time Wrath of the Lich King has been fully released, then it will also be the end of the Season of Mastery realm if it continues to progress through all the expansions. So the Season of Mastery realms will again end at the exact same time as Classic WoW ends. They'll sync up by the end of Wrath of the Lich King, and then from there then they may decide to start releasing new Season of Mastery realms for all the expansions all at once, giving people the option and the freedom to play whatever expansion they want, which will be really good. But anyway guys, only time will tell. My name is MetaGoblin. To my next video, ciao.